maybe for some of you it's heartache, and there's someone you miss that used to like get a crush on somebody, and it didn't work out, and you're sad. And look, I've been there before. I am no stranger to these feelings. I have been on that roller coaster, up and down on that roller coaster. I've been on cloud 9 when I'm like, oh my gosh, she really likes me. She likes me too, and I like her, and like the feeling of that. And I've been on the other side when I've experienced rejection, and I lay on the ground of my bedroom, and I'm like, oh no, like the girl I like, she doesn't like me back. So I know how it feels. In fact, in college, throughout my time, I had 2 girlfriends while I was in college. I broke up with both of them. I'm sorry, that's just how it was. I broke up with both of them. And then, those were girlfriends. There was other girls that I broke up with that I didn't even know I was in a relationship with. I was like, hold on, wait, you think we're dating or something? Like, oh, awkward, like, and that was me not doing a really good job of being clear and like communicating my intentions, or communicating that I was interested, or hey, I just see you as a friend. I didn't know how to do that, and so I had to break up with girls that I didn't even know I was dating. And so that's how also happened to me, where like I'll be like hanging out with a girl, and we'd be going, getting lunch and stuff. We had a Chick-fil-A on campus at NC State, the Wolfpack. On NC State's campus, we had Chick-fil-A, and I would meet this girl, and we go after class. I'd be like, oh, like, she's my girlfriend. And then one day she's like, hey, that, like, I just see you as a friend, right? And I was like, what? Really? I was like, dang. So I get it. It is tricky, guys. It is a challenge. And in college, I counted it out once. Back in college, I made a list. This is kind of embarrassing, but I don't care. On that list, throughout my freshman to my senior year of college, I had a crush at one point. So not at the same time, but 20 different girls that I had crushes on, that I was interested in, okay? Because college is just it's the time, you're around other people who are the same age, and they're also interested in some of the same things, and they're also looking for their soulmate. And so, yeah, that's just what you do when you're in college. And so, this is why, all of us, we get excited for this topic, we're wanting to learn more about it, and you know what, it's relatable. And if you can relate to me, that's because it's relatable. And it's so relatable that there are people that make billions of dollars off of how much dating and relationships and heartbreaking and breaking up, like Taylor Swift, right? Because girls, this is what girls do. All right. You guys can share your opinions about T Swift and Travis Kelce and all that later. But here's what happens. Girls, they be in their room by themselves, and they're listening to Taylor Swift and her songs about being broken up with, and they're like, she understands me. And she's like, me and T Swift, the girls were like, she's like my sister, she understands me. So you guys feel like you're close to Taylor Swift. But see, y'all, Taylor, that's how she makes her money. Because she writes about stuff that is relatable. Now, the question is not how to get a date. If you lower your standards or change your standards enough, anybody at some point can go on a date. The question is, what should your standards be? Should you lower your standards? Is that something that you should do? But before we can answer that, we first have to answer, what is the purpose of dating? What is dating for? Why should you ask a girl or ask a guy to be your boyfriend or girlfriend? Why should you do that? Is it to have fun? Oh, it's just like a girl, someone I can have fun with. Is it to have a companion that you get to go and do fun things with? Is it because you're lonely? Is it to have someone to talk to? I just want to be able to have someone I can text or Snapchat all the time. Is that why? Is it just to have someone to talk to? What is the point of dating? Well, I would say it's really simple. See, dating is something that's modern. See, back in the day, they didn't have dating, guys. Back in the day, you grew up in one village, And in that village, there was a girl. She was the girl next door or the girl down the street. And you knew when you grew up one day that you were going to marry that girl. And it was really simple. You had one of four options. Now in America, when you go to college, and there is thousands of options when you go to college. And then when you are an adult and you're over the age of 18, and you can get on an online dating app, and now you have millions of options. And you can talk to someone from all over the world. Literally, if you're like, you know what, today I feel like I want to date a girl from France. You can do it. You can sign up for a dating account in France. And so there is endless amounts of opportunity, of option. But what's the point? The point is for evaluation. You are evaluating whether someone is fit to marry. That's the whole point. The only reason you ever go on a date, the only reason you ever have a boyfriend or girlfriend is because you are looking to find someone to marry. Now, that brings me to the elephant in the room tonight. Okay? I'm going to call y'all out. Some of you have already mentioned it. Last week, a girl came up to me, 6th grade girl. She's like, Theo, I don't think we should be talking about dating in middle school. It's not important for middle schoolers. And you know what? I was like, just wait. Just wait for this week. Because if the point, hey, there's like some conversation going on over here. I need y'all to pay attention, okay? So, if the point of dating is to get married, let me ask you a question. What is the likelihood that your girlfriend or boyfriend, when you're a 7th grader or 6th grader or 8th grader, what is the likelihood that you're going to make it to marriage? Very, very, very little. Tuck in, that's what I'm talking about. 0% chance. 0% chance. Therefore, is there really a point to dating while you're in middle school? No, there's not. There is not. And so, here's my advice, truly. Like, I can close this laptop, I can close this Bible, if you listen to this advice. It is pointless to date in middle school or high school. You should wait until you get into college. However, I know that a lot of you don't like to hear that. If you take my advice, I promise you, you will go into your adulthood, you will go into your marriage, you will go into your future with a lot less pain, a lot less insecurity, and a lot less heartache. Because when you date at this age, you are more likely to say things and do things that you will one day regret. And you're gonna bring those regrets and you're gonna bring those mistakes into your future relationships and into your future marriage. And so you can save yourself that trouble if you wait until you get to college. Now, that being said, I know a lot of you probably just tuned me out right now and you're like, I don't care what he thinks, I'm gonna do what I want anyways. And look, I get it. I was one of those guys too when I was in middle school. Okay, I had crushes on girls, and I wanted to have a girlfriend. So, I'm telling you, if you are serious about your relationship with Jesus, you'll take my advice. You'll wait till you're in college. But, for some of you, you're not strong enough to wait. You're not strong enough to wait. You don't have the patience. Hey guys, I'm gonna make y'all move out of the room. I'm gonna make y'all, some of you don't have the patience. You don't have the strength. And for that reason, you're going to do it anyways. Well, if you are, let me at least give you some helpful tips to save you as much trouble as possible. That is why we're talking about this. Because if you're going to date anyways, I want to at least put you and set you up on the right path. Okay? That's why we're talking about this tonight. So the point of dating is for marriage. But look, if you're going to be like, I don't care, I'm gonna go wade in those waters anyways, well, at least let me teach you how to swim. Okay? So dating is like a new thing. It's a modern invention. It's like I already said. Now, because dating is a new thing, it's a modern invention, the Bible doesn't talk a lot about dating. I've already talked about this. When I was in college, I was like, how do I date? What do I do? Maybe God's word will tell me. Wrong. God's word does not tell you about dating. But God's word does tell you a lot about evaluation. How to evaluate whether someone is fit to be married. For instance, look at Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 24. 25:24, it says, "It is better to live in a corner of a housetop than a house shared with a quarrelsome wife." So you think that passage is for the dude the poor sucker who's already married, that's being like, he's hanging off the corner of his roof. He's like way far away from his wife, and he's like reading that, he's like, now you tell me? Yep. No! That's for you to read it now and know, okay, I need to start evaluating these things. Is the person I'm interested, are they always contentious? Are they always arguing? Are they always trying to fight? Are they always trying to start something? And so, that is for evaluation. What about for the girls? We'll look at Proverbs 25:28. It says, "A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls." That's not for the married woman. That is for the girl who's interested, okay, is this a guy that I can date and maybe one day marry? Well, look at his life. Does he have self-control? Does he fly off the handle? Does he get angry? Can he control his tongue? Does he swear a lot? Does he have control over his lustful desires? We'll talk about that in the future, but we, as men, we're supposed to have self-control. And so if you're going through this evaluation process with a guy and he doesn't have self-control, you probably should watch out. That's a red flag. Now, before we talk about what qualities you should be looking for, I want to tell you, I want you guys to sort of picture that you're running a race, okay? Now, for me, I like to run, okay? So it's easy for me to do. Maybe you're in here and you're like, Theo, I hate running. If I'm running, you should be running too because I'm running from something, okay? Well, now, before I talk about the race analogy, y'all remember I talked about my friend last week, Ashley, where she had all this list of qualities and she's like, I want my husband to be these 42 different things. Well, you know what? Have you ever thought about, because I know some of us have done that as well, they're like, I want my husband to do this, 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 and this. But have you ever thought about that maybe, instead of thinking about what you want your future husband or what you want your future wife to be like, have you thought about and stopped to think, what about me? Am I becoming the woman of God? Or am I becoming the man of God that is fit, that is worthy to be in a healthy marriage? We need to shift the focus off the other person and put the focus on ourselves and think, what can I do? How can I grow my relationship with Jesus? And the best thing you can do is to not fix your eyes on a boy or a girl, but fix your eyes on God. And that's what I mean by running the race. Life is running a race. The finish line, guys, is one day we're going to be in heaven. And we want to get to that finish line one day. And all along, you're going to be running this race. And you're going to be like, my eyes are fixed on God. My eyes are on the goal. I'm trying to get to God. And all while you're running that race, there's going to be all sorts of different people running by you. Some people are going to be running right next to you, and some people are going to be running in different directions. And the people who are running in different directions, they might be cute. You might be like, dang, like, maybe I could date that girl. But she's running in a different way. And you're running towards God. And the question is, who is the kind of person that you want to spend the rest of your life with? Is it someone who's running a different direction than you? See, for me, I've been running this race towards God for 14 years. God saved me when I was 16. So I'm 30 now. You do the math. 14. And right now, my eyes are still fixed on God. I'm not running with anybody. I'm not married yet. But my prayer is that one day, while I'm running this race, is I'm going to look up, and there's going to be a girl next to me, and she's going to be running after God too. And while she's running after God, maybe we connect, maybe we talk, maybe we learn that we have some of the same values, and we have some of the same interests. And ultimately, the goal is to find someone that you can reach over, you can grab their hand, and you can run off towards God together. And you can chase after Jesus together. That is what you are looking for. So besides a follower of Jesus, that should be the first thing. What are we looking for? Well, what we are looking for is two things. Here's two takeaways tonight. You are looking for character, and you're looking for chemistry. Character and chemistry. When you date, if you're looking for someone to date, those are the two characteristics you must have. You must have both. Some people only want chemistry. Some people, you only want a guy or girl that is attractive. And maybe you have fun together, and maybe you have good conversations, but they don't have good character. And when one day, you know what happens? A lot of people get married to someone that they have great chemistry with. And then they have babies. And then their kids grow up, and they're 3 and 4 years old, and they start having really big crossroads in life, really big decisions to make. How are we going to raise our kids? How are we going to bring our kids to church? Are we going to go to this school or that school? Are we going to live here or live there? And suddenly you realize, because you didn't think about the character, that you have a whole different set of values. Because you got married just based off chemistry. And you know what happens to those marriages? A lot of time they fall apart. A lot of time they fall apart. What about the opposite? Well, maybe you find someone and he's got great character. And his character stands before God. He's got integrity. He's living for Jesus. But you can't have a conversation longer than 5 minutes. Because you have nothing in common. You don't have any chemistry. You don't want to get married to that person too. You want to have fun together. You want your husband or your wife to be your best friend. That's what you're looking for. So, character and chemistry. Not one or the other. Now, before I talk about character, and we talk a little bit more about that, we talk a little bit more about chemistry, let me tell you what dating isn't for. You are not looking for someone to complete you. You are not one half of a person waiting to find your other half. You are complete and have everything you need in Jesus. And so, you are not looking for your soulmate. Jesus gives you everything you need. No other human can meet every need. No other human can solve every problem. No other human can heal every wound or eradicate every insecurity. A relationship is not meant to carry that burden. But you know who can carry that burden? God. God can carry that burden. And so Jesus already gives you everything you need. And so you don't need a boy or a girl to complete you. Now that said, let's talk about what you need. The first thing you should be looking for is character before God. You need someone who's on the same team. Someone who's on Team Jesus. Character before God. Look at me with me. 2 Corinthians 6:14 says this. I gotta flip to it because I'm on 1 Corinthians. And you know what? Like, I could read off the screen, y'all, but I'm trying to model to you guys that we should bring our Bibles to church. Who brought their Bible to church today? That's right. Only like a quarter of you. Y'all, we need to do something about that. You need to bring your Bible to church, okay? Everybody needs to bring their Bible to church. It says this: do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership with righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? Now I remember I was counseling a college guy. This was a few years ago. And he told me this girl he was dating broke up with him. Because she said, we're not equally yoked. And he was like, I don't understand. What does eggs have to do with relationships, Theo? I don't get it. And it's like, no, you're missing the point. It's not about eggs, okay? What a yoke was back in the day, to till the farmlands, the pastures. I forgot what a farm, the yard, the field was called, okay? I forgot what the field was called. You know, right now we have these beautiful like tractors that can till the yard. But back in the day, they would strap an oxen to a yoke. And the oxen would pull this plow. Now, it was really difficult for one oxen to do it, so they would put an oxen side by side. And so you can imagine I'm an oxen, and like maybe this stool right here is an oxen. So we would be hitched up side by side, and we would be pulling that till across the field to dig so we can plant crops and we can eventually have a farm and, you know, sell wheat or whatever. Now, if you put an oxen that was strong and the same size and the same age side by side, it would work. You'd be able to till that yard. But now, let's say you put an oxen and you put a donkey next to each other. Well, an oxen is a lot stronger than a donkey. And what's going to happen is that oxen is going to pull harder than the donkey can pull. And all of a sudden, what happens? You go around in circles. And you don't make any progress. And guess what? What Paul is writing here, let's put that verse on the screen, 2 Corinthians 6:14. What Paul is saying here is don't hitch yourself up to someone who doesn't have the same relationship with God as you. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? And so let me make it really clear, okay? Everybody looking at me? Let me make it really clear. If you're a Christian, this means you do not date or marry a non-Christian. Period. You don't have the same set of values. And if following Jesus is the most important part of your life, you can't marry someone who is not the most important part of their life. And so if that is what that verse means. If you hitch yourself up to someone and you have different values, you have different things you're interested in, what's going to happen is you're going to be tugging against each other. They want to go this way, you want to go that way. They want to live in New York, you want to live in Los Angeles, different sides of the country. You want to go to church, they don't, and you're going to spend your whole life fighting and arguing. And for some of you in here, you know what I'm talking about. Your mom's a Christian, your dad's not. Your mom goes to church, your dad doesn't. Or vice versa. In some cases, the dad's a Christian, the mom's not. Your dad goes to church, your mom doesn't. And it causes conflict in your family. You don't need me to tell you that. You know, you experience it. Sometimes my high school girls or high school boys will tell me about someone they're dating. They'll like say their name, and I'm like, who? Because I haven't met them. And ladies and gentlemen, if your boyfriend or girlfriend does not come to church with you, they're not a good fit for you. If they will not come to church with you, that's a deal breaker, that's a red flag right from the outset, okay? So you're looking for character before God. Secondly, chemistry. You are looking for chemistry. That means, do you have fun together? Do you enjoy your time together? Do the hours just fly by when you're together? See, you want to be compatible, but you do not want to be identical. See, if any of you write out a list of qualities that you're looking for, chances are those qualities are just like an idealized version of yourself. Usually, you're writing down qualities about yourself that you like, and you want to see those qualities in someone else. But let me tell you something. You don't want to marry yourself, okay? You want to marry someone who is different than you. Here's why. You want someone who complements you. Where you're strong, they're weak. And where you're weak, they're strong. Why? So together, you're better. You're better together than you are by yourself. That's the whole point of getting married. You want someone who's going to balance you out. You want someone who's going to compliment you. Here's an example. I'll give you an example from my life. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I really struggle with empathy, okay? It's a weakness of mine. And so when I went to the YMCA, back in the day when I was 16 years old, I had the little first graders. I had thinking back on it, I don't know why they trusted 16-year-old Theo with 30 first graders every single day at this day camp, but they did, okay? And sometimes these little first graders would fall, and they'd skin their knee. And I knew that it didn't hurt that bad, but they would lay there, and they would be crying, and this is why they paired up a guy counselor with a girl counselor. Because I'd be like, no, buddy, come on, let's go, rub some dirt on it, get up, you're fine. And the girl, she would come, and she would sit with them and be like, did you hurt your knee? Oh, I hurt my knee sometimes too. And show some empathy. And I ain't got no time for that, okay? So the Lord needs to bring me a wife that is empathetic, because I am not good at that. And so together, we can be a team. We can be a team. Because when I'm struggling with empathy, she can help me see where I'm not being empathetic, where I'm not being compassionate. And so maybe I can offer something else. Maybe someone who's overly emotional and overly empathetic, and I'm over here and I'm really rational and logical. I can help see through the emotion. And so you guys see what I'm saying? You want to be able to help each other out. You want to balance each other out. You don't want to be the same person. You want to make one another better. You want to benefit from one another. So what are some examples of compatibility? What are some examples of chemistry we're looking for? Here's 3. Number 1, you want to be socially compatible. If you're an extrovert and she's an introvert, that's okay. But basically what this is saying is, do you enjoy your time together? Do you have good conversations? Do you like talking to each other? Or are you bored when you're around each other? For me, I love the outdoors. I like to go mountain biking. I like to go rock climbing. I like to go backpacking. So that doesn't mean that I need a girl that also likes to do all those things, but she's like, I hate the woods. Dirt, I'm afraid of that. Touching a leaf? No. I'd rather die. I can't be with one of those girls because we're not compatible. And so you need to be able to be compatible with some of these things. But here's the thing. If you love somebody, you are willing to sacrifice your desires because you love them. You are going to be interested in what they're interested in. Let me give you an example. Theo is not very artistic, okay? I can't even draw a good stick figure, all right? It's just a reality. I'm not very artistic. Now, if a girl that I was dating or was going to marry, a girl that I was in love with, let's say she loves art. Well, because I love her, I'm not interested in art, but I'm interested in what she's interested in. And I'm willing to try and learn. And maybe like she wants to go to art class. All right, let's go to an art class. I'm not going to do very good, but I'm going to do it because I love you. That is what you are looking for. Someone, you don't have to love all the same things, but there has to be at least some compatibility. What about vocationally compatibility? This doesn't really apply to y'all yet, but like if he wants to go be a missionary in Uganda and you want to be like an investment banker in Houston, well, there might be a desync there. Like you might not be on the same page. If you have different goals in life, you're like of different ministries you're called to or different career paths you're called to that aren't compatible, it might not work. If he's a teacher and she's like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, I don't know, like a teacher the salary might not be able to support you being a stay-at-home mom. So you have to ask yourself these questions. And then the last one, physically compatible. Yes. You should be physically attracted to one another. That does matter. You should like the way they look. Okay? But it should never be the primary factor. It can be a factor, but if it is the reason that you marry someone one day, you're going to have a problem. You guys know what that problem is? One day, you're going to get old. And one day, you ain't going to be attractive anymore. Okay? You're going to be a grandma or grandpa. I'm just telling you the truth. All right? If you don't like it, sorry. Truth hurts sometimes. And if you're with someone only because of the way they look, then if something bad happens, like you get in a horrible accident and your face is disfigured now, or something happens where you have a disease and you can't seem to keep the weight off, whatever it is, or the disease makes you really incredibly skinny, like a skeleton. If someone is with you just because of the way you look, that might not be enough to keep the relationship together. And that is why physical attraction can be a factor, but it should never be the factor. And the reason is simple. Proverbs 30:30 says this. Oh, that's the wrong one. I think it's hold on, I'm going to look it up. Beauty fades. I'm going to look it up in my laptop here. Isn't the internet wonderful? Proverbs 31:30. There you go. Some of the women in here know. It says, charm is deceitful and beauty fades, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised. Ladies, that's what you want. Your beauty is going to fade one day. But if you fear the Lord, you will live forever. Men, you want a woman one day who is going to follow the Lord and put him first. That's what's attractive to me. Girls who love Jesus, that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. So ultimately, the reason I'm alive, guys, and this is the conclusion, so Ben can go back up. Now, when I say that, I want you to stay locked in with me. Okay, that doesn't mean start rustling around. I have a few more things I want to say. The reason I'm alive, and the reason that any Christian should be alive, is to bring God glory. That's it. It's that simple. Period. I'm alive to bring God glory. Now, if I can bring God more glory as a single man than I can do in a relationship, there is no reason for me to be in a relationship. I don't. I'm not going to be in one. If I can bring God more glory as a single man, I'm never going to be in a relationship. If, however, I find a girl that together people see the way we love each other, the way that Jesus is part of our relationship, the way that we're running after God together, and they say they can see the example of Jesus in our life, and God gets more glory from us being together than me being single, then that is what is worth pursuing. That's what you're looking for, is someone that you can hitch up together for your whole life, and you can till more fields for the glory of God than you can do by yourself. You want someone that you can chase after God together. Someone who's going to push you closer to Jesus. For me, I want to marry a girl one day that's going to bring me closer to God, not further from Him. I want to marry a girl one day that's going to remind me about God's goodness and His faithfulness every single day. And maybe you're here tonight and you're living for different reasons. You're like, Theo, I can't relate. I live for different reasons. I'm not living to glorify God. Maybe you're living for popularity. Maybe you're living to be a good student, be successful in school. Maybe you're living because you want to be the best athlete possible. Maybe you're living because you want a boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe you think that that's what's going to complete your life. That's what's going to make you happy. Can I tell you that there's greater things to live for? There's a higher purpose. And it's found in Jesus. If you live for Jesus, your life will have greater purpose than living for anything else. In fact, nothing can give you purpose the way that Jesus can. And we get to live for him because he died for us. And because he died for us, and he laid it all down for us, we can lay it all down for him. And if you've never laid it all down for Jesus before, I want to give you an opportunity right now to do that. I want to give you an opportunity to surrender. I want to give you an opportunity to trust in him, to wave the white flag, to give up. I know we don't like to think about that as Americans. No, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to fight. I'm going to be independent. No. To be a Christian one day, you have to give up and say, Lord, I can't do it, but you can. And if you never have done that, if you've never surrendered, I want to lead you in a prayer. So if everybody bow their heads, close their eyes. If you want to give your life to Jesus tonight and find your completeness in him, to be satisfied in him, to be fulfilled in him, to not need a boyfriend or a girlfriend to be complete, but to have everything in Jesus, you can repeat this prayer after me in the quiet of your heart. Jesus, thank you for coming to save us. Lord, I want you to save me. God, I've ran for far too long. I've lived for other things. I lived for the wrong things, God. But tonight, I want to live for you, Jesus. Lord, will you come into my life? Will you transform me to forever, God? In Jesus' name. Keep your heads down, your eyes closed. In fact, you know what? Actually, everybody look up at me. I'm going to ask you to do something different tonight. If you prayed that prayer tonight, I want you to stand up. I'm not yet. I'm going to tell you when. But if you're like, that was me. Tonight, I trusted in you, Jesus. I gave it all. And if you're like, I don't know if I can do that, Theo. I don't know. Well, look, if you can proclaim it before your friends in here, then you can proclaim it before your friends out there. The people who don't know God. The people who aren't living for God. You can live boldly for him. And if you're nervous, it's okay. Grab a friend next to you. But there's going to be some leaders who are going to be in the back. Your leader will come with you. In fact, you can tell your leader right now, hey, I'm going to stand up. That's going to be me. I'm going to stand up. But on the count of 3, if that's you tonight, if you prayed that prayer, you want to give everything to Jesus tonight, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to be bold, I want you to be courageous, and I want you to stand up. 1, Jesus loves you so much. 2, it's the best decision you ever make. 3, if that's you, go ahead and stand up. Awesome. Let's give a hand for these brave people who are making that decision tonight. All right. I want you all to go find a leader. Leaders, follow your students. Go to the back. If you stood up, go ahead and walk back there. Bring your friends if you want to. Leaders, you know who your kids are. Be looking out for them. Awesome. Well, we're going to worship. We're going to worship what God just did. We're going to stay in our seats for this last song. So let me pray and we're going to go into worship. Nathaniel, get the decision cards up and I'll be back there.